In this podcast episode, featuring Vince Coglianese, the discussion revolves around the upcoming Democratic National Convention, DNC in short, the state of American politics, and the media's role in shaping public perception. As the DNC approaches, Coglianese expresses skepticism about the effectiveness of Kamala Harris as the party's nominee. He notes that Harris's campaign will likely focus on themes of joy and empowerment, despite the evident chaos and discontent within the party. He points out the absurdity of Harris's position, given her history of flip-flopping on issues and her inability to connect with voters authentically. He highlights the irony of her campaign being centered around joy, while her public persona often comes across as insincere and fearful. The conversation delves into the broader implications of Harris's candidacy, suggesting that her nomination was not just a reflection of her abilities, but also a strategic move by the Democratic Party to maintain power. Coglianese argues that the party's leadership is more concerned with optics and identity politics than with addressing the real issues facing Americans. He emphasizes that the DNC will likely be a showcase of disingenuousness, with Harris attempting to present herself as a champion for the people while being disconnected from their struggles. A significant portion of the discussion focuses on the media's role in shaping narratives around political figures, particularly Harris and Biden. Coglianese points out that the media has a vested interest in promoting certain narratives, often at the expense of truth. He criticizes outlets like CNN and MSNBC for their blatant bias and for creating a false reality that serves the interests of the Democratic Party. He laments the lack of accountability in journalism, noting that many media figures, including Don Lemon, have become mouthpieces for the establishment rather than objective reporters. The conversation also touches on the absurdity of the media's treatment of various political figures. Coglianese recounts a moment from a past Democratic debate where Biden made a gaffe about Obama, illustrating how the media often overlooks serious missteps by Democratic leaders while scrutinizing Republicans relentlessly. This double standard contributes to a culture of fear and compliance among voters, who are bombarded with misleading information. Coglianese shares his thoughts on Don Lemon, reflecting on his career and the evolution of his role in the media. He notes that Lemon, once a respected journalist, has devolved into a caricature of himself, often resorting to sensationalism and emotional appeals rather than substantive reporting. The discussion also addresses the broader implications of Lemon's approach to journalism, suggesting that his style reflects a larger trend within the media to prioritize entertainment over factual reporting. He expresses concern that this trend undermines the integrity of journalism and erodes public trust in the media. As the conversation progresses, Coglianese explores the nature of political power and the dynamics at play within the Democratic Party. He argues that the party's leadership is increasingly disconnected from the needs and desires of ordinary Americans. He points out that the Democratic establishment often prioritizes the interests of wealthy donors and special interest groups over the concerns of their constituents. Coglianese emphasizes that this disconnect is particularly evident in the party's handling of issues like immigration and crime. He criticizes the Democratic leadership for promoting policies that exacerbate social problems while failing to address the root causes of discontent among voters. He argues that the party's focus on identity politics and virtue signaling detracts from meaningful solutions to pressing issues. In contrast to the Democratic Party, Coglianese expresses optimism about the future of the Republican Party, particularly in light of Trump's influence. He notes that Trump's candidacy has reshaped the party's identity, pushing it toward a more populist and nationalist agenda. He argues that this shift has the potential to resonate with a broader base of voters who feel neglected by the political establishment. The conversation also touches on the importance of authenticity in politics. Coglianese emphasizes that voters are increasingly drawn to candidates who are willing to speak candidly about their beliefs and experiences. He suggests that the Republican Party should capitalize on this trend by promoting candidates who genuinely represent the interests of their constituents.